What's up, guys? What is it? It's Wednesday, March 26th. Another solid day here for us at FoosAlerts.com in the chat room live on Foos TV. The market had a pretty crazy day today. We started out to the upside, pretty heavily. The gap, we had a big gap open here this morning. It's pretty much been the same all week, where we started out the mornings with some nice buying pressure, but we just totally sold off into the close. Yesterday there was a rebound, but today we did have that big spike this morning, and just continue to sell off. So we're getting very choppy here in the market, so you have to be very cautious about your trades. When the market's just kind of chopping back and forth like this, swing trading isn't something that you can just, be patient with and just buy and hold on to a stock and it's going to blow up 50%. You have to be very adamant about being able to get in and out of these stocks, at the right times and be able to look at the intraday signals that those charts are providing you, so you can try to get in and out, at the best prices possible, and at least make some profit. Today I was able to make $2,400, and I lost, or I had 6 total trades, and I lost in 4 of them, and only made money on 2 of them. Basically, only 1 of them. Actually, so I was made about $100 on 1, and then about $3,300 on INVE. I'll show you here in a second. But this is a great way to show that you don't have to have a successful win ratio. As you can see here, my win ratio today was only 33%, so I was losing 66% of the time, more than half. So, but the way you actually win in the stock market is all money management. People try to brag about how often they win. It doesn't really matter. My actual win ratio is more about 52% on average. So, I'm losing all the time. I'm constantly losing money every day. It's part of the game. The sooner you can accept that losing is just extremely normal, the sooner you can accept that, that's just part of the game, and you don't sweat it. I try to lose as small as possible, as I'll show you here, that I did today. I did have a lot of losses. I had 1, 2, 3, 4 losing trades and only 2 winning ones. So, the reason why I was able to make money is because, I did hit a big winner that, totally more so made up for all my losses that were happening today. So you have to be able to have the discipline enough to sell those stocks if and when they reverse on you. So let's take a look. First off, let's check out INVE. This was my biggest winner of the day. So let's start off with that, and then we'll go into the losing trades and why I sold those stocks and how I played them. So first off, let's look at INVE. As you can see here, this was the same thing. This is a very, very crazy stock. It kind of mimicked what the market did today, how we had that big run up here today, right out of the gates this morning. This is the 1-day intraday chart here with a 1-minute interval. So this was the opening price, just opening price action. The stock rallied up here for about an hour, and then it's completely sold all the way back off right down to where I bought it. And you can see on the daily candle here, this candle looks awful. Just broke out, completely failed that breakout, and now closed all the way back down at 105. Huge volume today, though. But if you look at the market as well, let me unlink this and pull up the Dow on the 1-minute intraday chart. You can see it's kind of the same deal. A lot of times, I always kind of follow the market at the same time. I'm always looking at the Dow Jones, seeing, what's the general sentiment right now. And I kind of play that off of, how I should react to my stocks as well. So always be finding or be monitoring, some kind of indice, whether it's the SPY, the SP 500, the NASDAQ, or the Dow. I don't know why I picked the Dow. I just picked it like 10 years ago. Somebody else picked it. And so I was like, oh, I'll watch the Dow too. And it's just stuck with me ever since then. There's no reason why I picked the Dow over anything else. It's just what I've been watching for a long time. So it's easy for me to read over other things. I'm just used to it. So it doesn't matter, which one you pick, whether it's the NASDAQ, S&P 500, the Russell 3000, the Dow. Pick one and follow it. Learn its moves. Just learn its basic general ideology of how the market's reacting in general, and kind of put that into terms of how you're trading on the day. But you can see here, the market did have that gap open. We had that huge rally, a lot of buying pressure in the morning, and we just completely sold off. The market eventually went red here about mid-session, and it's completely sold off heavily into the close. So it's the same exact thing here with INVE. Had that nice run up here. And then it's basically sold off into the close. So it kind of mimicked the entire market. So always be kind of monitoring, the Dow or whatever indice you want, just so you can have, a kind of general understanding what's the sentiment today You know, should I be, you know, holding on to this stock? Should I, you know, potentially start to be locking in a bunch of profits here and whatnot? So that's kind of something that's very important to kind of learn how to watch. But checking out INVE here, let's see why I bought this morning. Basically, you know, this had been on the watch list for quite some time prior to today's big rally here. Let's take away this. We basically got a revival pattern here that's forming up. You can see just over that dollar per share mark. You know, we've been trading a lot of these dollar rolls in March, and we've been freaking killing it on them there. So there's been, you know, that momentum over a dollar has been hot this month. So it's been, you know, definitely a worthy trade to be watching, and there's been a lot of them. So I definitely had INVE on my watch list basically for the last week and a half or two. And today we did have a gap open. This morning there was a press release out. It wasn't really, you know, I think it was this, what does it say? CEO Jason Hart to participate in the Thought Leaders panel discussion on the Internet of Things at Entrepreneurs Day 2014. You know, who cares? He's speaking at a conference. That doesn't mean anything. But, you know, it led to a gap open this morning. The market was gapping open. And just the fact that there was a PR, you know, listed within, you know, a few hours of the market open, you know, that creates some sort of hype. Even though it didn't mean anything, the market was hot this morning, as well as it had a bullish chart pattern that was breaking out of a FUS4 revival / gold pattern since it was over that dollar mark. So you always want to, you know, I always look to combine, you know, FUS4 patterns that are, you know, have some kind of news, PR, whatever the fuck it is. You know, it doesn't really matter that much. I mean, obviously it does, you know, somewhat matter, but, you know, the fact that there was just some kind of PR sitting there saying this morning, you know, this was just released, you know, an hour ago, that creates hype and momentum for that stock. So, you know, it's always important. That's basically what I alert to you guys every morning, that I, you know, send out that text message I sent to you out. What was it? INVE and ISR, both on the text message pre-market watch list, is saying, hey, you know, watch these stocks. There's definitely potential trades this morning, and both of them absolutely ripped it today. So coming right out of the gates here on INVE, it's formed up an F1. It happened very, very quickly. And, you know, sometimes they just happen very, very quickly, and you got to be in right at the right time. And as you can see here, you know, this thing starts spiking up. I think actually, or I did buy a little partial of this pre-market, I believe, here. And at 104 was my initial buy price. But, you know, looking at the F1 here, here's the first initial spike. Now we have a high day here formed within 1 minute, you know. So this is very, very fast-paced stuff. You have to be watching this. You have to be sitting there with your finger on the trigger, order ready, you know, be there before the market open. As soon as you see that text message, be like, all right, I'm looking at INVE. I'm going to watch for an F1 potential because I know FUS is looking at it because he just said to look at it. So obviously I'm, you know, potentially going to buy this thing. So you guys need to be, you know, anticipating this stuff. If you're going to be sitting, you know, behind the sidelines and, you know, fiddling around and you're looking at your cell phone or something, waiting for an alert to come out, you're always going to be late to the game. So you guys need to learn the strategy so you can, you know, anticipate this stuff before me. Get in before me. Make your own decisions. Don't just only follow my stuff. I mean, you know, my job is to teach you guys why I'm buying this stuff. You know, my alerts are for educational purposes only, all right? You know, I'm not a licensed stock broker, trader, you know, recommendation guy. That's not what I do. All I do is trade stocks, and I'll let you guys watch me so you can kind of learn about what I'm doing. So you got to learn to do this stuff on your own. But, you know, here we have that 104 mark here on the high day. A breakout over that, that's going to be an F1 here. So coming in here, I actually added, there it goes. Let me go back here to 1 minute chart. Just messing up my chart here. Bringing it back here. So here we go. Redoing this. So here's within 2 minutes here. On the third minute, this thing broke. I was already long, and then I actually added again on the secondary breakout here over 108, as that was kind of breaking out over this neckline here on the daily chart in the 108, like 5 to 110 area. You know, once we got over these resistance levels in that range, that was definitely an indication that I would be looking for this to head towards, you know, the 120 to 130 area, and that's exactly what happened. So I added another additional, I think 5,000 shares it was. From here, you know, as always, if you're trading an F1 breakout, you know, whatever time frame you're looking at it, 1 minute, 2 minute, 5 minute, follow the 13 EMA. You know, it's not going to be perfect, but as long as it holds the 13 EMA, there's no reason to sell the stock. So here, you know, it did break down below 13 EMA there for a little bit. I did sell partial gains. I still had, you know, a little bit of the stock left. It came back, and then right here, I sold the majority of it. I think after right here, when I sold it about 120, let me look back here where I sold. Yeah, I sold 128. So almost off the high day, 1 penny off the high day. Was a really nice exit there. And you always got to be, locking in profits on the way up with partials, either the whole thing or partial. If you see a big spike like this, where we break out, take some profits off the table, especially when the market's, pretty choppy like it is right now. I'm not super confident in swing trading right now. I'm mainly just looking to trade F1s in the morning, get in, get out, lock my profits. I was up close to $3 grand within the first hour of trading. So I held $5,000 or 5,000 shares after I sold that. And this thing got very volatile and came all the way back down. I actually added 5,000 shares. I think it was right here. Maybe, yeah, I think I even got stopped at, or no, I was right here. On this dip, we were basically coming back on lows of the day. I was like, all right, I'm going to get in here for the dip, hoping to see this thing bounce, and I actually got stopped out right here about 106 on that one tick lower, and actually bounced up a little bit here, but really came back all the way down, and now it's down at 106. So, you got to be careful with these stocks when the market's volatile. As I always say, the only reason why I do Foos TV for the only first 2 hours, because that's when the action is. As you can see here, there was that morning pop. You can trade the F1, get in and get out, and be done. And you can walk away, go hit the beach, go do whatever, make a couple grand in an hour, and that's it. That's all you got to do. The rest of the day was kind of a chop shop. So that was INVE. Another one was ISR that I called out perfectly here this morning. Same thing. I sent you guys a text message pre-market saying, hey, check out ISR. This was bouncing off the 13 EMA area. This was also on the watch list as a potential bounce play. And here this morning, it's had this great looking F1 forming up. It was a little bit choppy. If we go forward here, here's the opening price. It kind of had some sellers here, but it pulled back to the 13 EMA, found support, and now it's kind of forming up this triangular pattern on ISR. I didn't get in right about here at about 213. I radared this again, saying, hey, watch this for the F1 potential, and I actually drew this trend line here at 215 and set an alert here. I was like, all right, I'm setting an alert, and I'm going to go look at something else. But if it pops over 215, I'll probably buy this thing. But then next thing you know, this thing just ripped it up here with one big candle. Right there on huge for about 213 all the way up to 220. So at this point, it was breaking out, but I was a little bit hesitant. Huge volume though, and I just I didn't get the trigger exactly where I wanted it, and then I just hesitated, and then after that I just sat here and watched like, ah man, miss this perfect F1. But you're not gonna miss or get everything, but it's all about identifying patterns and at least taking a chunk of the pie. Fortunately, I did not get into this when I wanted to, but I did identify the pattern. I gave you guys the heads up pre-market saying watch this for the F1. Then I gave you another radar about 10 minutes later saying, hey, this is forming an F1. And then it broke the F1. I know a lot of you guys got in chat and made some money. Unfortunately, I missed it, but my goal, my job is to identify opportunities and present them to you guys and teach you why those patterns are something to be worthy of watching. So that was a great looking chart there on ISR. On this rebound here, but it was also, again, it just had that morning pop, and then the rest of the session, this thing kind of just sold off and teetered off here. Another one here was HTM. I'm going to make this quick because I only got about a minute and a half left on this recording before it kicks me off, but we're going to look at F1 here. This is one that I bought in right out of the gates with INVE. Unfortunately, HTM didn't pan out just as well. This had news this morning right out of the gates, and as you can see, prior to this breakdown here, basically, I was buying into a F1. So we got an F1 here. Basically, the lows are at 102. The highs of the day are at 108. So an F1 is going to be a trigger over 108. So we're basically trading in a range. You want it, if it goes above 108, that's a buy. If it goes below 102, that's basically kind of a, the opposite of an F1. It's a bearish breakdown F1. So I sold as soon as this broke down. I don't screw around. There's no room for bullshit or screw around in the stock market. If you start getting into losing position, it's up to you what you want to do. My choice is to not lose in trading. So I got out as soon as possible once I saw that reversing here and got out at 102. And from here, this thing completely sold off. Like I always say, if it starts going against you, sell it. You can always rebuy, but there's no reason to hold on to this thing. I would have lost $5 grand on this stock today if I would have continued to sell. This thing went all the way down to 74 cents, and I actually rebought here at 78 or something, somewhere down here. I can't even freaking remember. There's so many trades. But I bought it at I think 76 and sold it again at 80 cents for about $700 profit, which led to me closing out my HTM loss for actually a profit on those two trades, because I sold it for a small loss and then rebounded and bought that stock back. But anyways, 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and the recording's done. That's it today, guys.